Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. It's Chris. So today we're going to be taking this little guy, Raspberry Pi Model B, and we're going to be taking him, USB hard drive, and a hub, and we are going to make our own Dropbox replacement so that you control what happens to your data. We're going to be using software called OwnCloud, which has a lot of neat features that you're not going to get from Dropbox, especially the free version of Dropbox. So, a couple more reasons why I like it is Dropbox charges for anything over 2 gigabytes. There are ways around that by referring people, but really, do you want to bother your friends by pestering them for things? So, I picked this up. As you can see, it's 1 terabyte, and I picked this up for about $80. I found it on sale, and this is actually the impetus for me doing that. I was like, man, 1 terabyte, that's $80, $25 minus the case. I don't remember how much the case was, but $25, and a hub that I picked up for about $20. So that's 130 bucks, right? And 130 bucks will net me 1 terabyte, actually a little bit less after formatting and software installation, but we'll call it 1 terabyte, 1024 gigabytes of my own storage on the internet, cloud storage as they like to call it. So that sounds pretty pimp to me. So let's go ahead and get this started. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, hey, so before we get into how to set it up, I just wanted to show you guys what it does. Actually, let me adjust this real quick. Alright, so I just want to show you guys what it is. If you look up here, all you do, unless you set up a DNS server for yourself, maybe not even a server, but you sign up for someone that provides it, there's a couple places. I'll provide links down below for the ones that I know of where it's like $15 a year. Anyway, so you just type in your IP address. This is on my local network. I don't have it going outside my home right now, and then /OwnCloud, and it brings you to a login page, and you can set up separate users and all that with their own storage limits. For myself and my wife, I've just done unlimited for both of us. So I've got the 2 terabyte extension going. It's not even an extension, the 2 terabyte hard drive plugged in and going, and you can see it's pretty snappy. It's not bad. Apparently it wanted to kick me back. That is bizarre. Okay, and now it's working. And just to show upload here, you just drag and drop. You can see it's not too bad. I mean, that's 700. It's around 700 megabytes that I'm uploading right there. Now it's supposed to have a video player. I don't think I've activated that, but one of the neat things is, we'll cancel that upload for now. If you go down to apps, really? Now you want to play? We'll just see how well this streams. I mean, that's kind of a neat thing if it works alright. I'm going to say not very well. This is on my local network. It's not like I'm trying to stream a YouTube video. So we'll close that. We'll go apps. Now obviously this kind of thing, it's meant for a much more powerful computer if you want the features like streaming and all that. But one of the things that I wanted it for was the calendar, which you can share between users of OwnCloud. Let me pull it up real quick, talk about preparation, huh? Now, don't know how well you can see it, but that appointment right there, it's all blurry, that I entered on the calendar on here, on OwnCloud, and it synced to my phone. That cost me a little bit extra. I wasn't anticipating that, but it was less than $5 total. Required a couple downloads on my phone. You can also, there are ways to sync it with iPhones. So no matter what, you can do that. Flux compensator, I don't know what that is. Yeah, so there's all these different apps. A lot of them are enabled by default. So it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. You can share contacts. There's an extension, or as they call it, an app that lets you share bookmarks, and it's going to ask you if you want to share your computer's location. It does that to make sure that the times it shows are correct, so for your local time. So that's not too bad. The other appointments that I put in my phone haven't synced in yet. I got it set to sync every few hours, and I actually have the Wi-Fi on my phone turned off a lot, so it's not working out that great. But yeah, so this is kind of nice. It's your own personal Dropbox type thing. If you want to use it, I find that it's a nice, easy way for my wife to back up her photos. If you or your significant other or anything like my wife, they take photos of every mundane thing that doesn't need to have a photo taken care of it. You can also set up synced files on the website. There's a small program you can download for Windows, Mac, Linux, and obviously for your phones that will let you sync files between there and on here. So the next thing that I'm going to work on after this is going to be setting up a DLNA server on the Raspberry Pi, so that videos and photos and music stored on this setup will actually stream to your PS3, your Xbox 360, and I believe the PS4 and Xbox One if you have those, or any other kind of a media center you have in your house. Because honestly, that's, I think, one of the coolest things. When I was in Korea and Turkey, I downloaded a lot of things that I like to keep a hold of, things that are hard to find, and I have a lot of backups of my DVD collection that I store on these hard drives. I haven't uploaded everything yet. One thing that I've noticed is in the instructions, I'll show you how to set it up so your max upload is 1 gigabyte. But if you're uploading a large collection of things, especially when you first set it up, your music collection is going to be more than a gig most likely. Your photo collection, if you've been taking photos for years, is going to be more than a gig. So with that, I'm going to change my settings so that is much larger. I'm thinking around 4 gigs should be good, because that's what most file systems can handle storing in a single go and can address within memory. So yeah. So now that you've seen this, and I've gone on for way too long about it, let's get into the instructions. Okay, so now that I've shown you kind of what you can expect from the software, we're going to take this little guy and a hard drive. Like I said earlier, you're going to need you're going to need a powered hub to make this work, because the Raspberry Pi will not put out enough power to make your USB hard drive work. But I've got one already set up, so let's get into how you do this. What you're seeing here is I am running a VNC terminal, just so you can know what to expect. So I'm going to open up a terminal on here. Make this bigger. There we go. Right, so a lot of people suggest that you actually give your Pi a static IP address. That's not what I did, because I didn't want to change the way my entire home network works. And since I don't plan on broadcasting the web server out to the web, this is going to be like a cloud for my home. Now, it is possible to make it accessible from anywhere in the world. Me personally, since I'm doing this to control my data, well, I don't really need to control that in many places outside my home. So, we're not going to do that. First thing we're going to do is make sure everything is up to date. So we'll just click in here, go sudo apt-get update. Now this might take a little while, and I'll cut that out if it does. Now what this is doing is it's just going through all the installed packages packages, you can think of them as like apps for your phone, or just full-blown computers for full-blown programs for your computer, because that's what the Raspberry Pi is. It's a tiny computer. It is just making sure that everything that's already installed is up to date. So we're going to make sure that that's good to go. Now I already have a lot of these typed out, so all these commands typed out, so I can just copy and paste. But I'll make sure to there we go. So we already know it's up to date. So what we're going to do now is we're going to install a bunch of web server stuff, such as Apache, PHP, libcurl, those kind of things. If you don't know what they are, it's not a big deal. So, one moment. So, now that we have the telnet up, we'll log in. Telnet, sorry, not telnet, SSH. I'm thinking too much Windows. So once we have that going for us, you can copy it and paste. Bam. And once that's good to go, now gparted I believe is already installed. You see that here, gparted? I believe it's already installed, but we'll just go ahead and run that. This might take a while. Actually, it will take a while. So I will skip it. But it's going to warn you it's going to take X amount of space. In my case, it's 78.3 megabytes. You want to have a large card for this. Maybe not even that large. I think an 8 gig card will run you something like 16 bucks at the store that I buy from. So once this is done, we'll come back. Okay, so installing all that junk is now done. What we're going to do now is, it's real simple. We go sudo pecl install apc. That'll take a little bit. We'll download it and cut and back. So once it's done downloading, it'll ask you for a bunch of configuration stuff. So you can see here it says enable internal debugging in APC. I would just go with all the defaults. So we go no, enable per request file info about files used from APC cache, no. So you can just hit enter. I haven't run into any problems doing this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand everything it's asking. I'm not a web developer. I'm not a sysadmin. I am an amateur Java programmer. In fact, it's probably insulting to programmers for me to say that. But like I said, I haven't run into any problems doing this. I've been running my own little OwnCloud server off of another Raspberry Pi that I have. I've been running for about a week. It's only shut down on me once, and I believe that is because the case that I have it in doesn't allow for good airflow, and I did set up overclocking on it. Overclocking isn't necessary. What would help is changing the GPU memory split, because the Raspberry Pi, I believe the Model B has 512 RAM, 512 megabytes, and through the Raspi config program, which you can run just by typing in raspi-config. That's R-A-S-P-I, Raspi. Sorry, my Colorado accent makes me pronounce the P as a B. Through that utility, you can change the split between 256 for the GPU, graphics processing unit, down to 16. Since we're going to run this headless, no monitor attached, there's no reason for the GPU to be utilized. I've already changed that down to 16, and that is part of why we're getting the stuttering in this video over here. I have to look at my screen to see where I'm pointing. To me, that stuttering when I'm using a VNC terminal to get in, it means nothing. It's pointless. It doesn't affect the actual function that I want the Raspberry Pi to do. So just go ahead and change that memory split to 16. I do plan on doing a series of videos on basic Raspberry Pi setup. There's already a million on YouTube, but I want to be able to, in my links, in my videos provide quick links. Just, oh, you don't know how to install Raspbian. Here you go. Here's the easy way to do it. Oh, you want to know how to set it up in the Raspberry config. Bam. SSH. Bam. VNC terminal. Bam. Anyway, I'm going to cut here and come back when this is done. Okay, so that's done. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and go sudo nano etc/php5/ oh my goodness, I just added those lines to something that didn't need those lines added. Before we edited that, we were supposed to add something else. So we go sudo nano etc/php5/cgi conf.d/apc.ini. That makes a lot more sense with all the APC stuff we were doing. So we'll go extension equals apc.ssl apc.enabled equals 1 apc.shm_size equals 30. Control X, save the changes. Yes. Now then, we'll go back to the Apache 2 PHP, blah blah. First one that we weren't supposed to edit. Now this one is the one where the Control W comes in handy. So we go Control W. First thing we need to change is the upload file size. So we search for upload max. So right now, upload max file size 2 megabytes, right? Now I've seen a lot of suggestions saying change it to 1024 megabytes, which is 1 gig. In my experience, that's not handy for your first setup. If you're going to put this out available to the world, that sounds fine, because a lot of internet service providers, if you're running this out of your home, they charge you if you hit a cap, or they slow you down real bad, especially in the United States. I've been hearing about that. I haven't lived there for about 5 years. I'm getting ready to go back. But what I'm going to do, since I'm going to use this in my home network, is set it to 4 gigs, which comes out to 4096. So that's what I'm going to change mine to, 4096. If that totally fails on me, well then, you'll know. I'll let you know. Alright, so now that we've changed that, we're going to find the post max size. So we go post max. There it is, post max size. We go 4096. There we go, 4 gigabytes. So the next thing we need is extension equals. Okay, if you wish to have an extension load automatically, use the following syntax. So underneath all this, and they give some examples, we'll go extension equals, make sure you're not typing it on the line that has this semicolon here that I've highlighted. Don't type it on a semicolon. That means it's not going to get read. Alright, so we're going to go extension equals apc.sl. Now if you remember on the last file that we edited for APCs, we were setting that up. So we go Control X to exit, yes to save, enter to save it to that. So the next one, it's going to be a lot of file editing, guys. I'm sorry for the boringness, but I wanted you to see it all. So we're going to go sudo nano Apache 2 sites enabled slash, that's 3 zeros hyphen default. Okay, so inside this we need to change allow override to all if it says none. You can see there, allow override says none. We change that to all. This one here, allow override all. This one here. All. Make sure there's no more. Now if you go Control V, it'll take you to the next page. And that's where we hit the end of it. So, it's only 3. We Control X, Y to save. Now we're going to be setting up SSL. So that's just sudo a2en mod rewrite. Okay. Next, we're going to, instead of rewrite, say headers. It says we're going to have to provide a restart. We're not going to do that now. What we're going to do instead is type all that in. Now, like I said earlier, I'll be sure to provide copy paste in the description for all these long ones. They're a little bit ridiculous. To save time, I'm not typing the long ones in. Now, this one's going to ask us to provide information. So, enter passphrase for the server key. Make that whatever you want. This is setting up RSA certificates. It's going to ask you a few times to set up passwords. And again, they're going to be whatever you want. Country name, I'm in the UK. So UK, state or province, Brandon. I said that wrong. Whatever, it doesn't matter much. Organization name, hey, I'm the Game Dogs, right? Headquarters, my full name. Not gonna be my full name. Email address, not gonna put that in. Challenge password, I'm not gonna put that in. Optional company name. Passphrase for the server key. There we go. So once it's all done, you need to restart Apache, which is the software that is running the server. It's very common, powers much of the internet because it's open source and has great great support that you can purchase or rent, and great documentation from what I know. I've never read it. So we're restarting the web server. There we go. And now we get an SSL connection. Let me make sure that's actually shown in the video. Yeah. So you might have seen this before when you're connecting to a website. But since we're running this website, I'm going to go ahead and say that I trust it. You can see issuer demo pi. That's what I've given this Raspberry Pi as a name. So hit OK. Bam. Moving on. Now we need to actually install OwnCloud. You go to owncloud.org. A lot of the instructions that I've found for this section are a little bit old. They don't reference new stuff. So we're going to go wget well, we won't do that. Wget is a way to download stuff on Linux through the command line. So I've gone to owncloud.org/install, and right now, as of December 19th, 2013, this is what it looks like. And if you go tar or zip file, download Unix, right click it, copy link address. Okay. Now if we pull up that, we can see that this is where they're storing it. Right? Right. Okay, so we'll copy it. And paste. And you hit enter, and it gives you a nice little graph on how fast it's going. I'm currently hitting about 1 megabit a second, so it's not too bad. Again, this right here is actually the SSH terminal, not the VNC. The VNC won't let me copy and paste from Windows into the terminal window I have open through VNC. So I'm doing the SSH, but you can type it yourself. You'll have all the time in the world. I'm trying to keep this video short. I think I'm failing at that. We'll find out later. Okay, so that's installed. What you want to do now, I'll go back to this one, sudo tar, which is an unzipping utility. That's not exactly correct, but it's a fair enough analogy. xjf, which are tags for tar to look at to know how to run. I don't know what they mean, I'm not gonna lie. So we go OwnCloud hyphen, and what was that one that we ran? We downloaded 6.0.0a.tar.bz2. So OwnCloud 6.0.0a.tar.bz2. Is that correct? 6.0.0a.tar.bz2. Okay. Let's hope this works. Oh, I'm waiting with bated breath. Alright. So, that's done unpacking. So now that that's done, we need to copy it to the root web folder. So, sudo cp, which is just the copy command, -r OwnCloud /var/www. Bam. That's going to take a little bit. Okay, so the copying's done. What we need to do now is give the web server permission to access the directory that we just made through the copy command. And that's sudo chown. I've never figured out what the ch is for. -R www -data www -data space var www OwnCloud. That shouldn't take long. There, it's already done. Now we're also going to have to edit the hypertext access file. So we're going to go back to our old friend Nano. Type in the following. Okay, for this one, we are changing to the same values that we changed in the php.ini file. So that is upload max file size. As we can see down here, it is 513. Interesting. So we're going to go back to 4096. Max post size 4096. Should be everything that we need to change. Upload, post, and extension. Is there an extension in here? Extension not found. So I don't think we need to change anything in there. Control X. Yes. Save. So now what we're doing is we're going to run the partitioning manager called gparted. Now it is possible to run it through the GUI. In fact, we should probably do that because it says not authorized. Now actually I believe that I ran this problem before. Preferences gparted. Alright, it's going to ask for a password. That's whatever password you have set up previously for the account you're logged into. So it's coming up. Now I don't have another hard drive hooked up right now because I already have a Raspberry Pi running this. But I'll go ahead and show you what you would do. So what it's showing right here, let's make sure it's showing up in video. Okay, good. So what it's showing right here is it's showing this is actually the SD card that the Raspberry Pi is running off of. Oh, I do have one plugged in. Unfortunately, it's already formatted, so I'm not going to do that. But what you would do is scroll down to here, find the hard drive they have hooked up, click on it, and you unmount it, because Linux automatically mounts it. You can see down here that it is doing it again. Double check that you have it selected, and you would go format to. I did ext4. You don't want to do swap. And 2 and 3, I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe that they have limits on the amount of space that can be addressed by the system. So go with the ext4. If FAT16 and FAT32 are highlighted, I wouldn't go with those. Those are Windows, and Microsoft owns the copyright on those. Most versions of Linux now can actually read and write FAT32, but because Microsoft owns the copyright, it's been reverse engineered, and reverse engineered isn't a bad word. It's just, in this case, it's not as reliable for your data as anything else. So that's what you do. You go format, and then once that's done, you would hit hold on, let's just do this real quick. So that, and these buttons appear right here: undo last operation and apply all operations. I'm not going to click apply, but for you, when you reformat your drive, warning, reformatting your drive will erase anything on it. So if you're not using a brand new drive, make sure you back up that data. I'm going to do undo, and I'm going to close gparted. So once that's done, that hard drive is ready to be used by Linux. See, now I'm going to have to remount it though, and that's real easy. You go accessories, file manager, OwnCloud right here, mount volume. Now it's mounted, now it's available. Okay, so once you're done doing the partitions and formatting it, you have to give the web server access to it. So that's going to be very similar to the last one we did. I guess it's not. That is exactly like the last one we did. Interesting. So now all you have to do is set up OwnCloud. I'll be right back after adjusting my recording settings to show you that. Okay, so using the command that we previously saw, ifconfig, in case you didn't write it down, for your for whatever the IP address that your Raspberry Pi has, you type that in, you go /OwnCloud. Right? If you just type in the IP address, it goes, it works, the default web page for this server, it's running but no content. You can do what you want with that. So you go /OwnCloud, and it comes up. Now this is where you create your admin account. As you can see, it's running in a browser. I've got Chrome up. So this will go Pi demo. Don't let me forget this. Oh, that got a little bit hairy there. That's where you can set up the data folder. Now hold on real quick. I'm actually going to try and set up the data folder to be OwnCloud itself. So that's /media/OwnCloud. You can see that right here. Oh wow, I didn't even notice that it was doing this nonsense. Alright, so you can see that. Boop, 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 boop. We'll take that off. So I'm gonna go /media/OwnCloud. Now bear with me. I did it. Period. Bear with me. If this doesn't work, I'm really fucking sorry. So it says SQLite will be used. I never set up a password. Let's go Pi demo. Now this little button right here hides or shows your password. I'm just letting you guys see the password for the demo here. And why is that still giving me that? Oh, okay. That's why. Done. finish setup. It's gonna take a little bit. It's gonna throw all its own little files on. Okay, so it's finally loaded up for the first run, and we're going to see how this is. So, welcome to OwnCloud, your personal web services, all your files, contacts, calendar, and more in one place. These are links to the different apps that are available. My mouse isn't showing up. How odd. There it is. So these are links to the different services. Link to the documentation on the website. If you like it, you can recommend it. Blah blah blah. Connect your calendar, your contacts, access files via WebDAV. Let's check that out real quick. Okay, so that just opens up the documentation. This is something I actually haven't got to work yet, because obviously my main computers are running Windows. That's just kind of how I am. But it's got instructions on Mac OS and how to map the drive as a network drive, which for me that sounds really awesome. Okay, so it's got the documents. Now, one thing I'm noticing that's missing is everything. Alright, so you have your admin settings that you can run. You can add users here. So like I added my wife. Maybe I'll add my dog later. He's not going to do anything though. Now this is something that I didn't see before. File handling, maximum upload size. It's set to 512. Max possible is 2 gigabytes. That's a little bit unfortunate, but let's go ahead and do that. 2 gigabytes, save. Now it says we're accessing it versus hypertext transfer protocol, and they suggest configuring your server to do hypertext transfer protocol secure, aka HTTPS. And that's something I honestly don't know how to change, and it is a large part of why I'm not forwarding mine out to the world. That and me living out in the boondocks of the United Kingdom, my connection would be horribly slow. It's just the upload speed of my home connection is not great. Obviously, if you're running a small business or a large business, it's open source software. If you're running a business, and let's say you're the sysadmin, you would know these things a lot better than I would, how to edit the PHP and all that. Let's see, it's got enforce HTTPS, but it doesn't let me click it. Warnings. APC size now uses MG suffixes. Okay. Alright, so what I showed you before about having OwnCloud installed directly to your external hard drive wasn't wrong. It's just I couldn't see the files because I had used that hard drive on another OwnCloud installation. So that wasn't going to work for me, right? Because OwnCloud sets up folders for each user. As you can see, it's actually working pretty snappy, and I think a lot of that is because of the RAM that I gave to the GPU. So I had to move the files, which you saw me do earlier. I had to move the files from where they were by default to the PyDemo user folder. That worked out fine. So if you were starting with a fresh installation and a fresh hard drive, you shouldn't run into that problem. If you do, let me know. I will do what I can to find the answer for you. Done. Now here's something that I want to try. If we go like this, right, is it possible? How can I share this? Alright, so let's create a new group. Add group users. Okay. Login name user demo. Password user demo. Create. What? So according to these guys, disabling WebDAV will let you create new users. How bizarre. give it a shot, huh? So disabled web dev. Here we go. User1. Group. Add group. Users. Create. There we go. We got user1. They're not in a user group. They are not a group admin, they are users. Oh no, a group admin, whatever. So unlimited. Cool. Here's what I'm going to do. Now that there's a new user, let's see if I can share files with that new user. What do you think of that? Okay, so what we have here is I'm going to log in as both user1, which is the one we just made, and PyDemo, which is the admin. Just have a couple users going, right? And let's go ahead and let's make this little guy right here. We'll say this is a test. Save. Oh, let's go where to save. Go here. We'll say OwnCloud sharing test.txt. Boom. So while user1 is still trying there, we'll go ahead, we'll upload that OwnCloud sharing test. It's already uploaded, of course. It's a txt file. We don't. You can see here on user1, it's showing the first run deal. Bam. And we can see that there's a shared folder now. Alright. And if we go share with user group, user1. Pop that up, user1, and it's shared. Can edit. Share link, set expiration date. That's neat. You can set expiration date so they can only do that so much. You can see over here under user1 they have a shared folder which shows an MP3 file that I've already shared and a text document. Now what's kind of neat is you can edit this in OwnCloud. So we can go user1 added this. Save. Saved. Close. What happens if we open this over here? Under, oh, see, user1 added this. I find that really neat. Now what I want to know, oh, you can share whole directories. So we go user1, shared. Alright, so they can edit, create, update, delete, and share. So for your home, if you don't want other people to share, like let's say you and the wife want to be able to share a folder or some files, but you don't want your wife, why am I saying wife? That's kind of sexist. What if you're setting it up for your husband? Or, you know, what if you don't have a traditional male-female relation? Anyway, moving on. Let's say you want to share it with your significant other, and but you don't want them to share it with anybody else. You can say, no, don't share. Alright, so that's shared. Oh, I accidentally undid it. So share with user1. User1 can edit, can't share, can't delete. Okay, so if we refresh shared, we'll go back to home. Open up shared. Video. 5 gigs of video. You can see here it's mirroring exactly. So isn't that neat? There you are. So you can see I have rename download versions, and I believe that is delete. They do not have the delete option. I have renamed download versions. Now I thought I said that they weren't able to share. Share with you by PyDemo. Resharing is not allowed. I find this really neat. So if I go to my calendar, right? Let's go to calendar for both of them. Forget about it. I'm actually really excited. Right now I'm exploring it, and I hope the exploring part of the video isn't too much. If it is, I'll go back down below, click there. Ooh, yeah, click there, and you can skip ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead and right here for tomorrow. Calendar sharing test 1. I keep hitting 2. I'm not sure why. Okay, so that shows up there. If I click on it, they both show up. If I go here, oh, I obviously have too much shit open now. Okay, so we can set the time zone, the format, URLs for syncing, default calendar, share calendar. Ooh, user 1. User 1 can edit, share, blah blah blah. Cool. Sounds good to me. Once we open the calendar under user 1, see if these 2 that I've created show up. I'm actually going to delete that one. How interesting. Oh, it does. It does show up. It is shared between them. I find this to be... I read about this. I got it syncing between my phone and all that, but I hadn't shared it yet. So to me, this is a really neat idea, because that way my wife and I can make appointments and we can be aware of what each other is doing. Or say the dog has an appointment with the vet, which I know it does. I'm not sure when it is, but that way I'm always aware. You know, I'm not sure if everyone's relationship works this way. It probably doesn't, but maybe your significant other schedules things and you're not always aware. You're fooling around on the internets, so you know you're not always aware. This way, I can just be like, oh, hey, look at that. I have this going on. Really awesome. Really awesome. There are instructions. If you go through the documentation, I won't go through it because it's been running way too long. If you go to OwnCloud.org, look through the documentation on how to set it up to share your calendar with your phone, whether you have iPhone or Android. No Windows Phone support that I've seen, but bam, that's that. Please, let me know what you thought of this video. I probably ran way too long, just like the tour video, which hopefully comes out of copyright investigation soon. I'm not sure why YouTube thinks I violated someone's copyright, but they do. I hope to get that resolved soon. Hopefully this one doesn't suffer from the same thing, but let me know what you think. I would love to read your comments. There have been some requests for me to do some Litecoin videos. When I get around to that, I will. No promises. With me moving soon, I'm doing more smaller things like this that don't take up much room, don't require me to buy more stuff. I already have 4 Raspberry Pis, so it's not painful to me to use these because I already have them. So, anyway, over and out. Watch your 6.